The CEO of India's biggest IT company now joins us. Chandra, good to have you back. Thank you for joining us. Well, the quarter gone by must be a special quarter for you because TCS crossed a market cap of 5 lakh crore. So that must be a proud moment for you.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And the opening of your Japanese center coincided with the Prime Minister Modi himself drumming the beats.
Yeah, that was a great opportunity, and it just happened. We're grateful.
Okay, let's talk about how things have moved for TCS for the quarter gone by. Now, analysts' expectations were running high, so obviously there is a tinge of disappointment. But 6% on such a large base is quite a feat.
Yes, it is. I think it's if you look at this quarter, it's a very strong performance overall. Above 6% volume growth, and all markets, industries, and service lines have done very well. Client metrics is pretty strong. Having said that, I think even in my own estimate, as I said in the call last night, I think we probably missed about $20 million of incremental growth. But that can happen on a $4 billion base.
Are you likely to make it up in this quarter?
So you never make up, right? Because when you miss a number in a particular quarter, or what happens is that puts extra pressure on the asking rate. But overall, it's a good result and great momentum. The teams have done well. A lot of things to cheer about. India business is picking up. US has done well. Europe has done well. UK has done well on constant currency. People keep asking whether UK and Europe has been soft. Not at all, because on a CC basis, continental Europe was above 5% and UK was 4.6%. So it's a good quarter.
But Chandra, in this quarter, when I say this quarter, in the month of October, things have broken down. Things have broken down for global financial markets. Growth scare has come back. We've got this profit warning or this growth warning from ECB. Are you worried about the global scenario?
I think it's very hard to link this macro with what happens on the ground. We have been through this on multiple occasions in the last 5 years. Tech is going to see a lot of growth, primarily because of two reasons. One, digital is playing out. I now call digital is default. Everything that we do is in an environment of digital. So adoption and adaptation to digital is a fact of life. Second, as there is an economic pressure, it will only result in more and more simplification of tech and ops in any large firm. So given these two, I think tech companies will do well.
Okay, I'm just going to spend some time with you to try and understand the digital opportunity. You said you're excited about that opportunity. As of now, how much of your total revenue is coming from digital?
Yeah, we're still not giving it out.
Generally, to get a sense. But you think it will be a $5 billion opportunity?
At least. In
next 3 years?
No, I already made a statement saying that in the next 4 to 5 years, it will be $5 billion. And if at all, my estimates I have said is conservative, because I said digital is default. So everything is going to transform to digital. As I said in the call last night, there are two different types of revenue streams. One is deployment of digital to create new business models, multi-channel, omni-channel, analytics platforms behind the customer experience systems. On the other side, even your existing infrastructure, whether it is data center operations or whether it is your application portfolio, all will move to cloud. Some of them pure infrastructure cloud, some of them will be application or process clouds. So those are things in which you will cannibalize some of the existing application systems and move to cloud, and there will be some fresh ones. So we need to see what that mix is and how it plays out over the next.
But is digital high margin business, the business and digital you're getting, is that higher than the industry average or the TCS average?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so now you're staring at an opportunity
but that's on the execution side, but also our investments in digitals are very high. If you look at the utilization of our digital team, it will be far lower compared to the company average.
But that will pick up going forward.
It will pick up.
Okay, so I don't want to get this one wrong. What you're indicating to our viewers is that you are working on the digital platform, which could be a $3 to $4 billion opportunity, and this opportunity is coming at a margin which is higher than the current margin of TCS.
Yes.
That's a big jackpot for you then. in coming months?
You can
No,
call
I'm
it
simply
jackpot.
putting your words together.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's a big opportunity. Yeah.
Japan has added significantly to your top line for the quarter gone by. Should we expect similar contribution coming in from Japan in coming quarters?
I think this is the base number, the 102 million or so that we consolidated this quarter, that will be the base number. I expect it to grow from here, but then this is the very first quarter, so you need to give us 4 or 5 quarters to, there will be some volatility, but I think from what we have seen and the time we have spent in the last quarter, I would say that this is the base number. From here we should grow. How much we will grow quarter on quarter, I think it may not be to TCS growth rates, but we will have to eventually get there.
So we should not expect 2% plus in this quarter from Japan?
I don't know.
If I look at the Japanese market, it's a $100 billion market.
Yes.
And you have just reached there.
Yeah.
So I wonder when you start expanding there, what will happen to TCS's business in Japan?
As I don't know, as I've said before, I think it's a huge market, second largest market. So we should build a business of a few $1 billion over the next few years.
That would be 3 to 4 years.
Pardon?
3 to 4 years?
So I'm not giving a time frame because we still don't know. See, my priority in Japan is that we've got a very strong client base. We've got size now. So how do we deepen our relationship with these clients, and how do we bring the collective power and collective value proposition of TCS in a way it's relevant to our customers, and they've got to feel the value. Then automatically growth comes, margin comes. So I don't want to put the growth and margins ahead of the customer. I think we just need to learn to work with those customers and learn to make a difference to them, and that will translate into growth and margins.
Is insurance suffering because of client specific problems? Because insurance has suffered for the second quarter now.
Yeah, I think one of the primary factors affecting insurance is our Diligenta platform, because the closed book policies are running off, and that's resulting in degrowth. And otherwise, I think the insurance business has got a good pipeline. So I would expect it to be soft for a couple of quarters, but we should be ready for a good growth in FY16.
Are you confident of growth in Europe? You said that let's not focus on macro, but when you talk to your clients, are they ready to outsource more? Are they ready to give you more business?
Yes, I'm very confident of growth in Europe.
What's the sense on rates? When I say rates, billing rates.
See, billing rates, I've been maintaining it for almost a couple of years now that it's pretty stable, and that's the way it is. I think most of the realization drop you're seeing is due to the mix. Even in this quarter, if you see, all our major markets, UK, Europe and US, have come down as a percentage of the overall revenue, and the other markets have gone up, and that plays out. And also the mix in the service line plays out. So these are the things that are playing out, but otherwise there is no pressure on rates.
So Chandra, I'm just going to take the clock back. When we started the year, the general sense we got from TCS was that FY15 will be a better year. After that, Japan has kicked in, India has improved, Europe has kicked in, digitization business has kicked in. So currently everything is firing full cylinders.
Yeah, I think if you include the Japan numbers, definitely we will be much better than FY14. But if you exclude the Japan number, and if you look at the organic basis, even then our statement was that FY15 will be better than FY14, but that has come under a lot of pressure due to the Q2. I wouldn't call it a miss. Q2 typically has to be better than Q1, and it just at best has been on par with Q1, and to that extent it's going to affect the organic numbers in this fiscal. So
when you shared your guidance, it's not a guidance, but your statement that FY15 will be better than FY14, were you including the Japanese business in it?
No.
Okay. That was pure organic growth.
Yeah, organic growth.
So in terms of absolute top line, I can do the numbers there.
Absolutely.
Okay. Give me a sense of seasonality. It happens every year. So will anything be different this year?
No, I don't think so. I think Q3 will have the seasonal impact. It will have the furloughs in especially the manufacturing high-tech industries. It will have the impact on discretionary spend in retail, because retailers are pretty focused on holiday season in this quarter. and the number of working days will be lesser due to the holiday season. So I think these three things will play out.
But can other markets compensate for that? Let's say India, Latin America, can they compensate Japan? I mean, holidays will not be that large.
I think growth on that base, on a 4 billion base to compensate additional volume is not easy. It's not easy.
Okay. What is the key focus area for TCS for next 2 or 3 years? Will it be growth? Will it be margins? Will it be market share?
Growth, growth, growth.
And you're ready to compromise on margins?
See, you've heard me before. I don't think that growth and margin are two different things. I believe that any growth is good growth only if it can deliver the margins. So we will not compromise on margin. We will calibrate our investments based on where we want to be in margins, and we are extremely committed to operate at the margin levels that we have indicated. So we will not compromise on that for the sake of growth.
And right now you are in middle of that band.
Yeah.
Okay, so 28 is the highest, 26 is the lowest.
We would like to operate there, operate in that band. So that gives us some flexibility, you know.
So in coming quarters, would you move to the upper end of the band or the lower end of the band?
I think from here for the rest of the year, we should be only inching up.
Okay, why is that? You're sounding cautious because of client ramp-ups here, yet you are of the view that margins will inch up.
See, because we have taken all the headwinds, unless or otherwise currency becomes a headwind. But if you really look at the salary increase, which we took a huge headwind in Q1, promotions in Q2. So all those headwinds on the employee cost basis all taken already, factored already. But currency headwinds, I can't say anything. I can only talk about on a like-to-like basis. I cannot talk about. And also the hit on the Japan we have taken.
Yeah.
Right?
So what will happen because of the integration of the Japanese business?
I think our penetration with these clients has to increase, and that should result in significant growth in the coming years.
So is the Japanese business typical of what TCS has done in the past, that first you get the client comes in at a lower margin and the margin ramp up happens in the incoming quarters?
See, I think it is not a margin issue in Japan, it's a scale issue, because we now have very blue chip companies as our clients. So how do we, but the revenue size with these clients are small. So how do we start working with these clients and bring all the capabilities, whether it is digital, whether it's BPO, whether it is assurance, whether it is infrastructure, whether it's our platforms, how do we bring all of those things in a way that it makes relevance to these customers? And that's our number one focus. And we've already set up a very strong team in Japan, and we're already setting up an innovation center. So all the investments that are necessary are going into Japan. So these are what we call as strategic investments, and this is where we make these investments on the margins that we get above the range, and these investments are very important, and that's how we build the future.
India has bounced back. That's $1 billion business for you. How important is the India comeback? If I look at the overall size, it's not incremental, but India business in the past was the thorny issue.
No, it is a very important market. We've always said we've been here for 30-40 years and we have done very, very large and important projects. So I think it's the potential. India has a huge potential. There are a lot of Indian corporates who are giants, and a lot of them are aspiring to become giants. So it's very important to partner with these companies, and we are investing in building out these relationships. And also I hope the Digital India initiative will also result in a number of opportunities for companies like us.
Chandra, final question. The favorite slogan for an Indian is that अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं. But can I go back with a message for your shareholders that TCS shareholder के बहुत अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं? That's what I get a sense.
I thought we've been executing well, and we'll continue to execute well.
Okay. Chandra, good luck for the quarter, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Rajesh, On all counts, these numbers are strong. I know analysts' expectations were running high, but my compliments, 6% on such a large base, I think it's quite a feat. Before we get into specifics, why don't you walk us through the key highlights for the quarter gone by?
It's been, as you said, a good strong quarter for us. Overall, we have done 6.4% in dollar terms, and which has about 2.8% coming in from the Japan consolidation. Even on constant currency, organic basis, we have done a good number. If you look at the constituents of the growth, we are very happy that both it is volume driven. So you got a 6% plus volume growth. You got good strong growth coming in from all our core markets. US is growing at 4%. UK is growing at more than 4% adjusted for the currency. Europe is growing at 6% again adjusted for currency. If you look at our industry segment wise, BFS is coming in with a fairly strong show. BFSI, with a bit of weakness in insurance, is still clocking in out more than 4% or close to 4%. From a service line perspective also, we have seen good growth in enterprise solutions, engineering services, infrastructure services. So overall, I'm very happy with the structure of the growth. It's very good, broad-based, structurally sound growth. And so we are done, we are exiting H1 in a fairly strong way.
What kind of seasonality would kick in H2? Because H2 is always a slow quarter, we know that. But my question to you is that will H2 of this year be better than H2 of last year?
That's a tough call to make right now, because even more than H2, Q3 is the critical quarter, because many industries go in for, there are industries like retail, which essentially gear themselves up for the holiday season and therefore go down on their IT investments. They go into a maintenance mode. So typically that goes down quite a lot, right? New projects will not get kicked in because they are in maintenance mode. No new code drops will happen. There are other industries like manufacturing and high tech, which calibrate their furloughs depending on how this season turns out. Those decisions will be taken closer to November, December rather than now, because they're getting a feel for where the year is going to end. So sometimes you see furloughs kicking in right towards the end of December, or in occasional cases it will spill over into the first week or 2 weeks of January. So the call on that happens much later into it. So what happens in Q3 and how much of spillover comes into Q4, you get a better sense of it only when you are into December rather than now. So difficult one to say.
Ajoy, if I look at your attrition rate, still the best in the industry, but in between quarters that has gone up. Is that seasonality?
It is primarily seasonality. It is basically Q1 and Q2 when the attrition goes up from the normal wherever we are. And then Q3, Q4 it again tends to come down. So I think it's playing around the same kind of trends. If we look at August and September, it has come down compared to July. So it's the same trend.
You had about 36,000 employees. That's the number you shared with us at the press conference. Your full year guidance is about 55,000. Looks like you're on course to hire much more than your full year guidance.
Looks like, but at this point in time, it's difficult to really say what that number is going to be. But yes, first quarter we did about 15,800. This quarter we have done 20,300. So overall, more than 36. And we are still sticking to 55,000 what we have said.
But you'll have to increase that number, looking at the way you're hiring and looking at the way how your utilization rates are moving. I'm not looking at the percentage, I'm looking at absolute headcount.
Yeah. So if you look at overall the way we did last year as well, between Q3, Q4, the hiring, and currently the way we are growing and the kind of forecast that we have. But as Rajesh was mentioning, it is Q3 and Q4, as you also said, seasonally not as strong as the first half. So we'll have to just wait and watch. Our 55,000 definitely stays. We are going to do that. Most likely we will be doing more than that. But what is that, by how much, is something that we'll have to still calibrate. We have not done that yet.
Rajesh, at the press conference yesterday, you explained that CMC and TCS, they have some synergies and that would benefit the shareholder. But does it make sense to really merge it, because TCS is not going to nudge the needle, CMC is not going to nudge the needle for TCS?
It's not about nudging the needle. So specifically if you take some markets like, let's say, India market, we have two different market facing operations, which is never a good thing. It's much better to have a common consolidated phase. And also earlier there was an expectation that mid-sized IT would have a different niche kind of a focus. If you look at the market, it is pretty much converging, and therefore it is better to consolidate it into a larger entity and rationalize it. So it's more of a corporate structure rationalization exercise with some amount of positioning cleanups and market positioning led ones. and that's where it is. It is not it doesn't move the needle, but structurally it is better to get it done.
So for a TCS shareholder, this merger is a no event.
Technically, on a reported basis, you're likely to see a very marginal uptick on your EPS side of it. But as an organization grows and keeps on evolving, it's always a good thing to keep on cleaning up your corporate structure and not have too many overlapping subsidiaries. So while at the point of time it might not be a big event, I think it's a good healthy housekeeping exercise to do, to keep on doing this and not allow too many overlapping entities to operate in the same market.
From efficiency point of view and other things, it will be much better compared to having both of them as two separate organizations.
Fair point. Ajay, I want to understand the wage hike scenario, because when I talk to a TCS or Infosys or a Wipro, the sense I'm getting is that competition is only going to intensify, and companies in fact are going all out to retain talent. Do you think wage hike would be a challenge not only for TCS but for the industry per se?
See, as the demand increases and the industry starts growing, obviously there will be a wage pressure at that point in time. And if you look at TCS, we have been giving wage hike every year. So there's been no year except for one, which was 2008. We have been giving hikes every year, and it's been good, decent hike. And so from that point of view, our employees have been pretty happy. So if you look at our employee satisfaction, if you look at the retention rates, the kind of opportunities that people get. So from all that angles, I think we have been doing pretty well. And going forward, as the demand improves, the market will determine the kind of wage hike that one needs to give. And we'll definitely keep that into account when we decide our next year's wages.
Rajesh, when we started this year, top management of TCS went on record and they said, look, the fly in the ointment is only one, which is India. Yesterday you mentioned that India is bouncing back. What will that change? How will the India comeback change things for you?
So India comeback is very welcome, and we are hopefully will optimize that and ride on that. So the benefit of having a fairly diversified portfolio and a robust business mix is it allows us to take these kind of events. So you have weakness somewhere, you're offsetting it with something else. Net, we are still probably slightly weaker than where we would have wanted to be at the beginning of the year. But we welcome the India. It's been
but
a bit
still
of
a small business. It's not going to again nudge the needle in a big way for you, even if India comes back.
On the incremental revenue, every dollar counts. So it's small, but it's $1 billion business. So it's small in the overall context, but still at $1 billion, it's a fairly one. And if it goes down 10% like it did a few quarters back, it puts a big drag on you. Whereas if it clocks in at 8.5% like it did this time, it gives you a nice tailwind. So it's a very important market. We are market leaders, and we hope to participate in an incremental manner in this market.
Is insurance becoming more like an issue, because for the second quarter on the trot now, the insurance business for TCS is growing, but it is not growing at the run rate at which you would have expected it to grow?
Once again, yes, factually that's correct, and it is a bit of a thing. But once again, we need to see this in perspective, because at the time when BFS was soft 6 quarters back, insurance kicked in nicely and it supported the overall BFSI pipe. Now it's going through a bit of a down thing. It's still difficult to judge exactly what is driving it, because it's not as if there is a structural collapse, but there is weakness in it. But luckily for us, BFS is kicking in and helping support it. So this portfolio mix is very important, because exactly for the same reason that it helps us offset one against the other, and we are happy that we have that mix with us.
Joy, no one seems to be talking about the visa problems. That was the burning topic same time last year. Nobody seems to be bothered about that.
It's not a question of not being bothered. It is a question of planning things, as we have been saying. And we have been planning our requirements. We have been hiring on site, and we have been. So when it came to H visas, we applied from that point of view. The Ls are still having the same kind of issues that we have been having over a period of time. So it's a question of how well you plan, how much in advance you do the planning, and we are able to meet our demand at this point in time in US.
Gentlemen, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Find Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.